you talk about exit interviews, and I've never told anybody this before, and I've never told you this before, but I was thankful for one you gave me, the exit interview after OKC, where my back was completely gone, and I came in there and we had our exit interview, and I talked to you. I told you I was thinking about retiring and giving it up, and you said, "Don't do it." You gave us everything for the money I gave you. You gave us everything, and that
Right,
kept me going and kept me motivated because
right.
I was so frustrated, even after winning a championship. So I just want to say thank you for that. That was unbelievable, especially where I was at mindset wise with
Yeah.
my health and stuff. So I
Well,
appreciate that. Exit
$7 million a
interviews can
year
be good
isn't bad,
sometimes.
Mike. I mean, as I was saying, right?
Not at all. Hell no, not at all.
No,
Especially for,
and you're
with
worth
no
every
back.
dime. He was worth every dime.
Yeah.
Mike was like, even though he didn't start all the day, he was like a glue guy.
Yes.
We had all those guys on the bench were like glue guys. They loved being there. That's what I said. I really felt that team liked each other. You had fun with each other.
Yes.
And as great as you were, you would kick each other's ass in practice.
Yes.
You'd practice hard. And when you get on the court against some other teams in this league, that one year we won 27 games in a row in
Yes.
13, won 67 games for the season. I mean, that doesn't happen,
Yes.
unless you got greatness there. And so, Mike, you're one of my all-time favorites. I wish I could have coached you, and but I watched your career, and I just knew you were going to be perfect for this team. And all the guys advocated for you. I said, okay, who are we going to get next?
Mm-hmm.
We made this deal out in L.A. Finally came to an agreement with everybody, and then we had to wait for LeBron to do the decision. But everybody was saying we got to get Mike, and we got to get Mike. Mike was the first guy we had come to terms with. I think.
I remember that.
And so once I
Took
got
all my
Mike
money. He
to
took all my
terms,
money.
He took you. No,
He took all my money.
You got enough money.
Whoop his ass. He took all my money. No, so you said he might have leaked the location because D-Wade told us the other day that everybody met in a secret location. You just said L.A. Was that where they met at?
No, that was the first night.
Do you know where the Big Three met at for their secret location meeting?
Yes, I know where it was. Yeah, I know where it was.
Can you give us a
You
hint?
guys went somewhere up to LeBron's place in Cleveland, I think, to meet, didn't you? Yeah, you had that meeting.
We did have a meeting in Cleveland.
That's okay.
I was,
couldn't, but it was okay for the players to meet. You can do whatever you want to do, but I couldn't be in that meeting. But I knew you were up there having a discussion about something. Look, it was a big deal for you guys. For Dwayne, for Chris, and for LeBron especially. Probably the top three of the top five players in the league at the time.
Yes.
And, we're going to give up our own personal platform and sacrifice, for the sake of a championship, and it might blow up in our face. You never know if it's going to work, but it was just so great, that night that, LeBron, went on with Jim Gray and for the decision. I remember being in South Beach, and I was at Red Steakhouse, and then I think Dwayne was down at Prime or somewhere else, and I'll never forget when he said, "I'm taking my talents to South Beach." You could hear the whole place. The city was like, all of a sudden, everybody's out in the streets yelling and screaming. I went out in the street, and then he yelled in the street and called Leon Rose on the phone. I never forget.
So you didn't
it.
know until then?
Huh?
You didn't know until then?
I knew.
Oh, okay. You knew.
Man, there was no way. There was just no way that he could go up there. I didn't know, but there was no way that he could go up there and say, I'm going to go to like New York or go to Chicago. He could have, but I had a good feeling that he was going to come to Miami.
Yeah.
We had a ball.
Speaking of that night, Coach.
Yeah.
Speaking of that night, Coach, we have a segment on here from Morgan and Morgan called the Too Easy segment.
Uh-huh.
I'm curious because we talked about this again on D Wade's thing as well. When LeBron got on stage and talked about not winning one, but not two, but three, four.
It's okay.
All the way up to seven, all but seven. And I'm sitting there, and I know I'm about to sign with Miami the next couple of days. I'm like, what am I walking into? What was your mindset when he did that?
Well, I didn't mind it at all. I mean, we had a packed house.
I know you love that.
Mike McCullough, who's just a super marketing guy for us, put this whole thing together. You guys come up on stage, and there's smoke, and there's fans are going crazy. I mean those things don't happen that often in the NBA, and to be able to celebrate it before it even starts was great. But I don't mind, and I think he was kidding, but I don't mind people saying we're going to win. 1987, we beat the Celtics. It was the best team that we had. That team had matured in 1987 to be the best they could be as a team. We won 67 games that year. And we won the title. And after 4 championships, I remember saying to the media at the parade, I guarantee that next year we're going to win it again.
Right.
And I meant it. And it's important because for 20 years, nobody's ever gone back to back. And for 20 years, nobody ever wanted to say anything about, okay, what's going to happen next year. And so the reason why I said it, and I thought a lot about it, is that I wanted to put more pressure on that team than they've ever had on them. If you guys think you're as great as you are, you can win back-to-back titles. You got to do it. And we're not going to write it down as a goal. Okay, we all guarantee we're going to win it, and then we're going to stick it in the drawer so nobody else can see it. You got to make it public, but not make it public with a hubris, or an arrogance. No, because we were good.
Yes.
And so I said, and I believed it. I wanted to put pressure on them. Now, they all got upset. The players got upset. They said, could we just enjoy the summer? Could we go play some golf? Can we go do scuba diving somewhere? And you got to put this kind of pressure on us already. And so I'll never forget, we came back to training camp, and it happened. They were ready, and we ended up going back-to-back titles. And so what LeBron was saying that day, we're not going to win 1, we're going to win 2, we're going to win 3, we're going to win 4. I think we could have.
And I'm happy you brought up that.
If he would have stayed, I think we could have.
You're absolutely right. Went to 4 straight finals, won 2.
Yeah.
I'm happy you brought up the Lakers, and I'm happy you brought up the Celtics, because that rivalry was one to be a part of. Yeah. And I think it kind of translated, and we kind of inherited it here somewhat.
You did. You did.
Okay, so we feel the same way.
That's right. I feel the same way.
You feel the same way.
And I was glad.
Okay, so just because that other night, I was sick watching Paul and KG walk out with that trophy to start the season. I didn't like it. Didn't feel good. My food didn't taste the same. just talk about that rivalry, and it's a respectful, hateful rivalry.
It is respectful.
It is very respectful. They push us to the limit to find out how good we are, and we push them to find out how good that. But that's been going on for you for a long time.
But that's the best of sports, UD. That's when it's at its best, when 2 teams that are great, that have a tradition and a history and a rivalry, where you can have that kind of competition. It's the kind of competition where that night, if you don't have butterflies, or if you don't throw up for the game or something like that, you're not ready, because how important this is. And so, there's been 3 dynasties in my mind in this league. Boston in the 60s, 11 and 13 years for Bill Russell. That's why his number's hanging in the rafters of every arena in this league, because he deserves to be there. And so 11 and 13. And then the Lakers. Showtime. Yes. 7 trips to the finals, 5 championships in 9 years. And so that was a dynasty. Michael's 6 and 7 years was dynastic, without a doubt.
Yes.
And I don't know if there's one now. I think you had San Antonio, and you got Golden State winning 4. But when you get to a rivalry like that becomes so heated, you inherit it. And so what happened to us in the 80s, we inherited the 6 consecutive losses, that my great friend Jerry West and Elgin Baylor, and they lost to the Celtics. Can you even imagine your nature, and Mike, your nature, or LeBron or Dwayne or Chris, losing 6 times in the finals? No. You would all go psycho somewhere, you'd probably spend the rest of your life in the Bahamas at a Tahiti bar or something like that. But it's hard, and so it's so hard to win. And so that rivalry was created, and it was left to us in the 80s to settle it. The albatross was shifted from the 60s to the 80s to beat the Celtics, and we beat them 2 out of 3 times. And then when I got here to Miami, and it was the same way, when they won in the late 2000s, and then we got the Big 3. That rivalry was incredible with the Big 3 and with KG and Paul. And Paul and KG, as much as they can bust us, they have that kind of respect for us. They won't say it, and I love that about them, and I love that about us, is we're not going to take it from you either. So it's a great it's a great rivalry. I mean, only to this day that, you know, Larry Bird and I can actually shake hands and hug one another. Wow. And it's great, you know, I mean, because it's not personal, but he wanted to beat our ass and we wanted to beat their ass. But as you get older, it's such a wonderful feeling to see somebody who has aged that you knew was so great as a player, and you had to coach to try to beat him, you know, and he is always trying to beat you. So, see, you're like that, Mike's like that. True winners, true champions are like that. They want that competitive, not hate, but that competitive desire to beat somebody else. Yeah. And that gives you that DNA. So
it's hope for me and KG and Paul one day.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to, you know, if you stop yelling at each other all the time, then you'll be fine. But I'd love to have the three of you, KG and Paul, and you and Dwayne, maybe Mike or whatever, have a podcast where you can get after one another without throwing punches. That'd be great. or slinging insults. That would be an all-timer, man.
I tell you one thing: if some swinging get involved, Mike ain't gonna be there. That's what. If some swinging get involved, Mike ain't gonna be there. I'll tell you that.
Mike will be there.
That's what I got you for, you D. Damn.
OG fam, we got another exciting week of hoops coming up, and I've got the perfect way to get you even closer to the action on the court. Right now, all new DraftKings customers who bet just $5 will get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up using promo code OGs. The crown is yours. That's right, new customers get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins after betting just $5. And don't forget to stay in on the action and use your $150 in bonus bets on DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Combine multiple bets together from the same game. If your sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have a shot to win cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use my promo code OGs and bet just $5 on any wager and get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. That's promo code OGs only at DraftKings Sportsbook.